This is the Bijou Baker. I'm Maria. Where have you been? It's been so long since I've seen you last. I've missed you. You know, sometimes life gets in the way of living, right? And it's been a crazy couple of weeks. But today I have I'm making my absolute last wedding cake, with the exception of my grandkids. But this is the last wedding cake I'm going to do, and so I wanted to show you how to assemble it and how to get it ready for when you start making wedding cakes. Now, just so you know, there are mistakes that come out of the Bijou Baker's kitchen. It happens, and there's nothing wrong with that. Let me tell you what happened. So I've been making cakes for decades, and I just got so busy trying to get these in, get them in the oven, get on to the next one, and I went by memory, and I got 2 recipes swapped out. So one of the chocolate cakes didn't turn out the way I wanted to, which means there's no way I'm giving it to the bride and groom. But it also means that there's no way I'm going to toss it. So I've taken all that cake and I put it in here, and then later on I'm going to show you how to make cake pops and rum balls, and you can do so many things with these. The rum balls, I'm really going to have to use a clothespin on my nose because I can't stand the smell of rum, even artificial flavor, which I wouldn't use. All right, so when your cake messes up, don't worry about it. Eat it. Let them eat cake. Who said that? All right, so I've got a 3-tier cake. It's going to be very Mexican theme, which is, it's kind of cool. I like that. And I've got my 3 tiers. Okay, so I've got the first tier iced, and I intentionally gave that little flat beveled edge here. So this, I'm going to show you how to start to stack your cakes on here to make them sturdy. And it is a process, and you do need to be very careful when you're doing it. Now, here's the tricky part for me. When I deliver my cakes, I've never delivered a cake so far away. And my concern there is not my cake, it's the road. Because you got these cakes and they're going on a road, and you know some of these roads are really shaky, especially where this is up in the mountains, you know. So it'll be a little scary, but whatever, do or die, right? So I'm going to show you how to construct it. I'm not going to assemble it until I'm there. I'm going to show you a couple of tricks on how to assemble it so that chances are, if you're making cakes for your family, you're going to be at the wedding, which means you're going to be the cake cutter. Accept that as part of the whole thing, because they're not even going to think about having anybody else cut it because you made it. It's a pretty good cop-out, but every cake, I think I've been to 3 weddings where I didn't have to cut the cake, even if I didn't make it. They always call me to cut it, and it's a messy job, and it's not fun, but it comes with the territory. So, and the way to cut a cake, and I'll show you once I get there, and I'll show you how to assemble it, and then when it comes time for the cake cutting, I will show you how to cut a wedding portion cake. And this one is going to feed way more than 75 people. She asked for 75, and I'm thinking, wait, this is my family. There's no way. 75 is a barbecue out and back. So, of course, I overproduce because that's just what I do. I'm going to pop in and out and pause a lot, so just please bear with me because I'm going to get into go mode. And I love that you're sitting here and watching, but I got to get this stuff done the way my mind works. Now, I'm going to stop and tell you the different things that I'm doing. And boy, I hope I don't miss anything because like I said, the gun's going off and I just go. And I got this new setup where, you know, you see me this way and I got a wonderful table. But it makes it very difficult for me to, you know, pause the video. So bear with me. All right, so here you can see I got the center cake filled and iced. Now, when you're doing cakes, I'm just gonna stop off and just pop out tricks and tips as I go. every cake has a front and a back. Your best face forward. So the prettiest side of the cake, of course, is going to be your front. What you want to do when you're starting to learn this is get some toothpicks. Put one toothpick where you want the back to be, okay? And you'll see this spot right here. Okay. I'm going to use some edible lace on this, and so it's going to cover a lot. But this is where I would stick a toothpick and mark it to put it on top of my next layer. I'm going to sneeze, and I don't know how to stop this darn camera, so there you go. That always seems to work. Okay, this cake is on, it's an 8-inch cake, and it's on an 8-inch board, which means there's just a little bit of icing and such wrapped around it. You don't want your cake board to show on top of the layer. Makes it really easy to remove, but you don't want that. If you're going to go to all this work, you want to produce a beautiful, the best cake you possibly can. Okay, so let me show you how I'm going to take it off now. And this is going to be when I do transfer it and when I do deliver it, I'm going to put it on a cookie sheet with the lips, just like this, like my tool tray, caddy. I'm going to put it on there, and I'm going to put it on top of a towel so that it won't slide, okay? So that's what's going to happen there. In fact, let me get that ready now. No, I'm not going to get that ready now. I'm going to go ahead and put the edible lace on here since it's already on the turntable. So pardon my hands, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, again, I'm sorry about this back and forth stuff, but there's a lot going on here. Now, this edible lace is probably some of the coolest stuff. Isn't that pretty? And it's pliable, and you can move it. And remember, she's going for the Spanish theme, so this nailed it. Now, what is this? It's, I don't know. It's a glycerin-based food product. And that's the best I can give you. And I wouldn't even attempt to try to make this on my own. And you know I'm always willing to try anything. So you get these Silpat kind of forms, and they come in all sorts of designs. This makes it look like I am such a great decorator when really I'm cheating on levels that are just perfect. So you whip up this icing. Let's just call it an icing. And then okay. So you whip it up, and then you put on some blotches. You tap this with some cornstarch so it doesn't stick. And it won't stick. So you dust off the cornstarch really well. And then you put some dabs in it, and you just scrape the whole thing off. What sticks is this. Now, they say you can, put it in the oven and bake it for, I don't know, however long. Don't. It's going to dry it out too much, and it'll crack at the slightest chance. So I do it in the afternoon. I don't take it out until the morning. I just let it cure overnight, and then it's perfect, and it's pliable, and it's pretty. Okay, so this is what I'm going to put on the side of the cake. Now, the design itself, it's not going to run the whole cake. Each layer is only going to have a section of it. So some of it might even be, and this is going to be really tricky because we want it to stand up, okay? I'm not going to put it on now, but I need to make sure that it's going to be, okay, see, this is much taller than the cake itself. And I only put 3 layers of cake because that's a good cake size portion. So you can see it's much, you can't see. I can see, but you can't see. Now you can see it's much taller than the cake. So I'm going to have to do some trimming. So let me trim and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've cut off the top portions They had these beautiful long peaks. I loved those delicate peaks. They don't work for me, so I'm not taking it. And I had it, I have it at an angle. Can you see that? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find my front. Let me see. I want to try to do this so you can see what I'm doing. So I'll go ahead and get at a wonky position. I'm going to lay it. It's going to be very tricky. Understand that. So if I mess up, oh well. All right. So I'm going to hug it to the bottom, wrap it around, and so gently lift it up. This is whipped cream icing, and it's a very, very forgiving icing. Isn't that pretty? So I'm gonna touch it up just a little bit more to make sure it sticks, and you know, I could see some gaps here. That's not, I don't want that. But I'm gonna get a toothpick, and I'm going to get just the, well, no, I won't. My fingers are working good. All right. So I'm very, very gently touching this on so it adheres, and it's almost like glue with the icing. You see these tiny little peaks? All right, now that you saw what I was doing, I'm gonna give it my attention, okay? So bear with me. I wanna make sure nothing sticks out. You see that? Can you see that gap right there? That's okay. That's it, that's all it took. It just has to touch something. And she's got these beautiful red flowers that she's gonna put on. I think she said red, but whatever, she chose the flowers. It's fine with me. It's less work I have to do. Stop it. Okay, I didn't say that. But if she doesn't watch my videos, then she doesn't know. I'm gonna get mad at her now. All right, so if you push too hard, the icing will ooze out the front. You don't want to do that because it's going to hide those tiny little intricate lines. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to, no, I'm not. I was going to add some scrolls, but that's just perfect. Once I put it on top of the next layer, then I'm going to take some black icing and I'm going to cover the seam of the top cake to the bottom cake. You could do black ribbon, and I just might. I try to avoid using black or red icing because one, it stains, and in order to get those true colors, it takes a lot of icing, a lot of food coloring. So one, it stains. So all right, now the next layer is going to go on here, but let's shoot on over to the big cake and set that baby up. And I can do that right on this table. I don't need my, I hate throwing this edible, but look at that. It's so cool. Look at that. You can fold it. You can do all sorts of stuff with it, and it'll stay. Okay, anyways, so that's a lot of fun. I did a wedding for a young couple, and it was a very burlappy kind of wedding, and they've got a mold for burlap. So I just tainted the color a little beige, and got the burlap and then decorated it very, very simple, and it was perfect. So let's see. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to construct a cake. Now, I'm just going to show this off because it's so pretty, okay? In the meantime, I got this baby, and I can already see where my back is going to be because I don't like that piece, but that's okay. What I'm going to use, you can use dowels, you can use rods, you can use anything that's going to support the weight of these other two cakes. The things I like to use are these plastic ninja swords. Can you see? Why? Well, because it's big enough where it's going to give me more support. And it's easy enough to cut with my cake knife. That's a big thing. I hated doing, before they came with this, all we had out were dowels or these plastic these plastic cake supporters. But if your cake was not that exact size, you're, well, bummer. And I'll just leave it at that. So when you have a cake that's going to be, and it's going to sound odd, but when you have a cake that's 100 pounds or more, you need to figure out how much weight it has to support. These are, they come sold just like this in a 4-pack, which is more than enough for a 2-layer cake. Each one could do 3. You can get 3 cuts out of it, but my mind's not going to think like that, because I'd rather plan on getting 2, and if I'm lucky, the 3rd one comes out, but I'm not going to mark my, oh, I have to get 3 out of here. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's see. Let me show you everything. Say bye-bye, girl. We got work to do. All right. So you have a 10-inch plate. Okay. This is a 12-inch. This is a 10-inch, and then it's an 8-inch. This is chocolate with ganache filling. The 10-inch is white cake with lemon filling, and then a red velvet cake. Okay. So you're going to find the center. You're not going to put this on. You're just going to find the center so that your eyeballs can know exactly where it's at. Now, it's going to be 2 inches in. So you're going to take the center. You're always going to put one right in the middle. Make sure it's nice and flat and sturdy. You're going to let the icing touch it just a little bit, because that's how it's going to mark it. Okay, can you see that? That's where I'm going to cut it, and I can cut it with this because it cuts really well. And you go a little bit less rather than a little bit longer. And this goes right back inside. Perfect, even, flat. I'm going to do this 4 more times. Yes, I am over protecting the cake. You don't know that about me, baby. You don't know me. Always more. Always more. And in anything, more is better, especially when it comes to protecting your work. And like I said, because we got that drive, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. So, all right, I'm going to finish up these other 2, and then I'll make sure that you know everything that's going along. But I know that you probably, I'd rather me stop than you fast forward. Okay. Okay, turns out that 4 was enough. So I got a triangle and then 1 in the center. I could have done just 4, 2 on each side, but I really like that center piece. Now, here's where you're going to find the best time-consuming thing you'll ever do for cutting a cake. Now, can you see that? You see how that's done? That's pretty cool. Now, you're going to take your cake board. Once your cake is on here, it's going to go right on top. But if you do that, sorry guys, I don't mean to just flip-flop around, and I wish I had a cameraman, but I don't, so here we go. If you have your cake, and it's nice and full and heavy, and these cakes get heavy, and then you're going to put it right on top. Oh, that's perfect. That's beautiful. You put the other one right on top. That's perfect. That's beautiful. Oh, Maria, can you cut the cake? Sure. When you take this cake off and you disassemble it, all that icing is going to be right here. And that's not what you want. And it's a mess, because you want to take this off, and as soon as this is off, you want to put it down. You don't want to have to stop and have someone scrape the bottom. How do I know this? You know how I know this. Okay, so here is what you're going to love. You're going to love this. All right, so I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper the size of my board, And I'm going to lay this down right on top. Now this is where you're gonna do your sizing, okay? Remember, this is the back. So you're gonna place it. Perfect. Now I know where to put my cake, and there's no guessing, because this is a whole lot easier to move if you get it wrong than a whole cake. So here's trick number 3, 47, 18, whatever, I lost track. All right. You're going to cut a strip of parchment paper. You don't need it that long. And it's not going to make sense to you right now, but boy, wait till you find out. All right, so again, on the back, I'm going to put a piece of parchment paper right over there, okay? That's all. It's just touching the back of the cake. Now, what am I doing? Maria, come on, you're off your rockers. Well, that is a true statement, but so we've got this big, beautiful cake on top, and now it's time to cut it. So again, you have to disassemble it. So you're going to take your big puppy here, and you really want to invest in one of these offset spatulas. It carries a lot of weight. You're going to stop. You're going to, yeah. I wish you could just read my mind, because then you'd be just as confused as I am. Okay, so you're starting at the top. You always start at the top to unassemble it. Okay, so then you're going to get your spatula. You're going to lift up. You are going to love this. You're going to lift up just that little lip and put it right underneath. So what you've done is you've taken, you've got a clean line. Okay, so it's, first off, your board's going to be clean-ish. And you don't have to try to figure out where the board is and where the cake is. This little bit right there is going to tell you. It's a little tag. So you slip your knife under there, and that's how you do it. And all right. I'm a mess. What can I say? Okay, sorry. Now I'm going to take my 8-inch cake, and I'm going to put it on the tray for delivery, because for right now, for the purposes of this cake is done. Someone had asked me why I only have lace on the front. That's what the bride asked for. When the bride asks for something, that's what the bride gets. So she's basically just looking for the front of the cake to look beautiful. So that's what she'll get. All right, so this is super simple to take off, because there's a board under there. And it's going to go right on a cookie sheet with, this is the no-stick shelving foamy stuff. Okay, so there's that. All right. And that's it. It's got a board on it. I'm going to use this every chance I get, rather than try to hook my fingers under there, because, I mean, we're just looking for that accident. Not that I know. Okay, so I'm using my fingertips. This is doing most of the work. My fingertips are just kind of helping it. And that's it. So this is ready to be transported. Okay, now I'm gonna clean up just a bit so I can put the lace on the big cake, and then I'm gonna show you how to assemble and ice the center cake. I'm gonna fill it, ice it, and then put the prongs in that one. We're almost done. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I got this on the bottom. Here's the cutout pieces, okay? The sides and then the top. They're too beautiful not to use. I don't know where, but I'm going to use them. Now, and this is tricky work. So I got a toothpick to get it in, and my eyeballs, because who are we kidding? We're like that. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm just making sure with my finger everything is lined up with the bulk of the icing, of the lace, I'm sorry. And it's all touching, everything is good. Now I'm gonna go in and with the toothpick, I'm gonna just make sure, like I need contact. I need them all to make contact. Every little bit. And if you use the side of your toothpick, you're not gonna have to worry about poking in. It is a glycerin-based product, so the sugar and the moisture of the cake will start to dissolve it. So when it comes time to cut this, it's gonna cut right like regular icing. And it looks like I did all this by hand. Yeah, let's just go with that. I am using my hand. Does that count? All right. So that's all. Yeah, and I'm trying not to use the tip because I don't want to poke, like I said, I don't want to poke through the icing like I just did. But you and I know this. It's our little secret. All right, these, yeah, they're just way too pretty. And I can't really put them too high up because the cake on top is going to go there. But let me figure that out. I don't want to waste your time, but I'll make sure to show you what I end up doing. All right, so now this is essentially done. I think I'm going to put some black ribbon instead of, and then of course, you always want to make sure that your board is clean. When you're working on it, don't worry about it so much. But when you're ready to present your work, you present the best you possibly can, okay? Clean, precise, nice, crisp lines in almost everything. That looks so cool. Yeah, I'm quite excited to present her with this. I never give wedding presents because I end up giving a cake. So that's my last wedding cake present. So kind of bittersweet, you know, kind of bittersweet. I love doing it, but I love teaching it better. All right, so let me put this aside. This one will get transported just like this. It will go underneath. Yeah, it's pretty heavy. This is pretty heavy. But then remember, yeah, that's heavy. I'm gonna have some towels underneath. It's going to be transported in a van. This van is a wheelchair accessible van, so there's no middle seat. That's really cool. But that means that there's going to be a lot of slipping and sliding. So when it comes time to load this up, I'm going to show you that as well. I don't want you to miss anything. So let me clean up this mess and get ready to do the center cake, and then you'll know exactly how to fill and ice and prepare for that, okay? Okay, let's rock. So here's what I've got so far. I've got my board, I've got my turntable, I've got one layer here, and I've got one layer here. I'm only going to do 3 layers. So the top of this is going to be saved for something else. And I love that. Now, when I have a cake, and my cakes are so moist that sometimes for this purpose, they're almost too moist for the top. So I have foil or parchment paper on top so that it'll take that gummy part away. And I push it on really good to make sure it comes off. If it's not going to come off on here, then it's fine. But when it comes time for actually cutting the cake, you don't want gunk on your board. So you're going to use the bottom of this cake so that it's not gunky. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to work. I'm going to try to remember that you're here watching and learning. So bear with me. Okay, if I forget anything, that's all right. Okay, so my board goes upside down right on my cake. I have it resting on a board already with parchment paper just because I'm gunk free. All right, so the board goes aside. Okay, now I'm keeping this here because I'm going to All right. Who took my scissors? All right. I'm keeping this here because I want to keep my hands as clean as possible for this, so I don't have to go off camera and wash them. All right. So I've got my first layer here. And when it comes time to just cutting your cake, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Remember how I showed you in one of the cakes that I was assembling, how if it's broken, you're the only one that knows it's broken, and it's all repairable with the glue, also known as icing. So, all right. So I'm just going to cut it in half. Okay. The top is just going to come off. You will get comfortable enough to handle cakes like this in a while. And I made some lemon curd. And this stuff is just, this is a drug in itself. Now, I don't want a real thick layer, primarily because the drive. Remember the drive. We're looking at about a 50-mile drive. And if you have too much, if you have too much filling, it will slide off. Once upon a time, my sister she had surgery, and so she was staying with me, and her family was in Bullhead City, and she was just sad because she was going to miss her son's 8th birthday or such. So I said, well, let's make him a cake. Let's just make him a cake, and we'll celebrate for him. So she got really excited, and that was it for her. She's such a, oh my God, she is such a sweet heart. I don't know how we're related. So I'm going to keep telling you the story as I'm working, okay? So she made the cake, and she knows that he really likes a lot of icing. So she put a lot of icing in the middle. I was like, okay. And I tried to stop her, but this is what she wanted. So, all right. So I woke her up at 4 in the morning, and I said, come on, let's go take him the cake. Well, she got thrilled beyond words, okay? And so we get in the car and we head out. And when we get there, we put the cake in the trunk because it was nice and flat and it was protected really well. When we get there, it literally slid off. So it was just like boom, boom, boom. And let me tell you what, she didn't care. They didn't care. I couldn't stop laughing. That's one of my favorite cake stories. But, you know, when you go into this with the right heart, you're going to win. You're going to win. All right, so that's that. Now I've got this cake, and again, I want the bottom of this to be the top of this cake. Oh my God, that smells so good. All right, so we've got a clean, flat surface, and this is why I love parchment paper. That's it. That's all there is to this baby. I'm going to give one good... Man, that cake is moist. I can feel it in my hand. I love that. And this goes right on top. I'm telling you, you will learn to juggle. I do have to wash my hands, and I'm so sorry about that, but I don't like yucky. Okay, so remember how I was telling you in the very beginning of our time together how you'll have extra cake? Well, this is how you have extra cake. So you've got the top layer of that, and it's not going to waste. You can do a bunch of things with just that. All right, now I'm going to ice this, and I want you to see that it's just the board. That's it. It's just the board. Now, you don't want to use a whole lot of icing with any cake, really. I think people get grossed out when there's just an excessive amount of icing. If you're using it to decorate it, like if you want to make a mountain, use some of that extra cake, build that up, and then use less icing. People like cake more than icing. So when you are doing a wedding cake, you have to keep in mind, you're going to be cutting the actual, or the typical wedding cake size is 2 inches in, 1 inch out, and then as wide as a cake. And that is actually a good portion. It's not too much and it's not too little. Obviously you can see that I whipped up my icing earlier. And again, I'd rather have more than not enough. Now, why did I make so much? Just on the slight chance that I have to scrape all this stuff off and re-ice it over there. So you have your prep kit ready to go. All right. I always put more than I need because it's easier to scrape off than to try to put more on. Now, when you're doing a cake, you want to really go higher than the cake itself here. And I'll show you why. So this part here is higher than that. So when I try to go smooth it out, I'd rather have a little bit more playroom. Like I said, put more on and take it off. That's just going to be easier for you. So, and this could stay exactly like this. You could do all sorts of stuff to this. It doesn't matter because a cake is going to go on top. But don't. Don't get in a bad practice makes bad. What does my daughter say? Perfect practice makes perfect. So let's practice perfectly. Okay, so see this spot right here? Now, I don't want to have to try to get maji with it. So I'm going to put extra on here. And again, I'm going higher there. Now it's all higher than the cake, which is what I want. Then you get your cake smoother. And you start off and at an angle, you're not really scraping, you're just kind of smoothing. Okay? That's all this is. You're not scraping, you're smoothing, but you're taking off excess, which is exactly what you want. Now, with all this stuff up here, you're thinking, oh, what a mess. It's not. That's perfect. You're going to bring it right to the center, over and over. Now, if this was just a birthday cake or a dessert cake and you needed a perfectly finished top, then you're gonna go ahead and spend a little bit more time on finishing your top. But like I said, this is going to be covered, so really what I want smooth is just the edges that's going to be shown. All right, we are good to go. I will pack up the rest of that icing and and put it for my go bag. Yes, I did throw that. Leave me alone. Quit picking on me. All right. Now, the last piece of, all right, so you find out where your front is, and that's it for me. Okay, see that? But again, it doesn't really matter so much. Now I've got these, the last piece of my edible lace. And I will do a video on how to make that. And it's fun to use, especially because it's just so pliable. All right. This one. Yep, same spot. I'm going to cut them all in the same spot. So here, I'll show you what I've been doing while you weren't watching. And believe it or not, this does have a front and a back. All right, so I'm just going to go at a little bit of an arch and cut that off at the same spot. And it's funny because you can even line it up to do it, you know. So I won't because I'm blind. and I'll probably mess it up. All right, so a little bit of an arch. All right, that's that. And then these little beautiful things are going to be cut off. I am going to put them on here somewhere. They're just way too pretty not to use. And they all got cut right at the same spot, so that's kind of cool. All right, so let me, right there. I'm tilting it towards me because it's so delicate. I want to try to, this is going to be tricky. Now, and unless you make extra, you only get one shot. I'm either bold enough or dumb enough to only do one. Jury's still out on that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish this up the way I showed you earlier, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's done, and we're good to go. Now I'm going to put it on my board, on my cookie tray to transport. And anytime you're going to work with your cake, work with the back, just for obvious reasons, right? All right, now I'm putting the cake here, and then I don't need these glasses, and then I'm going to do the dowel right on here. Okay, so you can already tell where the front is, but I'm not going to move this around. I'm just going to keep it right where it's at. So for a 3-layer cake, you just need to set the dowels, okay? So here, because it's a smaller weight-bearing cake, the top cake is smaller, I'm just going to do 3, okay? And you kind of have to be a little good with, can you see where the line is that I have to cut? Right there. I like that these are so easy to cut with just a knife. And I've got my finger kind of hooked at an angle so that it'll control it. Otherwise, it'll just go in and out. So it's in and it's bent. And I'm pushing it down, all the way down. Okay? So let's do 3. And yes, it will have cake in there, but that's all right. Believe it or not, that's actually going to give it strength. And then I know it sounds ridiculous, but of course remember to take these out before you cut the cake. All right, that's it. That is it on the cake assembly part. Now I'm going to get my 8-inch round parchment paper and line it up all over again. And that's good to go. Along with my cheat sheet. All right, and this will go in the back. That's it. And then when it comes time, like I said, when it comes time to assemble it, I'll make sure to show you. And when it comes time to disassemble it and cut it, I'll show you that too. And then all you'll have to do is lift up this little piece and you'll know exactly where to slide your spatula in to lift it off, okay? That's it. This is exactly what I'm going to do. When I get there, I will touch up. I do have some extra black buttercream icing. Buttercream because the red and the black hold a truer color in buttercream than they do in whipped cream. It just doesn't. If you do red whipped cream, it's going to be a pretty pink, but it won't be red. So when I want red or black, I'm going to use buttercream, and you can absolutely switch mediums in you can use whipped cream icing and decorate with buttercream. Absolutely, you can. It's your cake. You can do whatever you want. So I'm going to take this with me just in case I might want to add a couple of things, or I don't know, maybe she wants the names written on it. I don't know, but you want to be prepared. That's it. That's it. Like I said, I'll show you all the steps along the way. This is a long video, and I'm so sorry, but there's so much to learn. So, all right, for now, this is me ending this very long task. All right, my friends, until next time, happy baking. Hi, guys. Okay, so this is how you're going to put your cake inside a car. I was going to put it in the van. I'm a lot more comfortable with the distance. Doing it in a car, it's going to be an easier drive for the cake, and you are more likely to have a car rather than a wheelchair accessible van. So what I've done is I've taken some towels, and I'm building up, you know, your seat's angle. I'm getting rid of that angle so that it stays flat. Depending on how deep the seat is, you may have to really build this up. This is a fairly simple seat, so as long as it stays flat, I'm good. This baby's not going anywhere. Now, if I put it this way, which is the way I'd want, even if it does go forward, chances are it's not going to go down. And I'm going to build something up here just to make sure. I'm going to do the same thing for the middle tier, and then in the front seat, I've got my repair kit here, and I've got a good flat sturdy surface. So this being the biggest cake and my biggest fear, because it's going to have to support so much, I can do the whole mom break thing for this cake, and we're good to go. Okay, I'll see you at the wedding. Okay, one last thing before I head out. I forgot to tell you, sorry about that. I forgot to tell you, the first thing I did was turn on the car and turn on the air conditioning. Because it's a whipped cream icing, even if it's buttercream, I would still want to make sure the climate is as controlled as I can get it. I don't always get that option, so when I can, I'm going to do it. All right, that's it for now. Okay, guys, so now the party's going down, and we're having a great time. They love the cake. The bride and groom cut their first piece, and now I'm going to disassemble it so that I can show you how to cut it and serve it. So remember this little flap that I was telling you about earlier? I'm going to lift this up, and that's going to tell me where the board is. And then I'm going to transfer it to the plate that I brought it in, and then here is the piece of paper that I'm going to lift right off, and I've got a perfect cake to start cutting. Now, remember I told you the traditional wedding cake piece is 2 inches long, 1 inch wide by the length of the by the height of the cake. So I have a hot pitcher of water here to keep the knife clean. So every time I cut, I'm going to dip into the cake and keep a clean knife. That's going to help for serving. So I'm going to go in about 2 inches here, and my granddaughter's taping for me, so thank you, Bella. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to go in about 2 inches here, and I'm going to make a circle. I'm going to go straight down, and my line is going to be very vertical. Okay. cleaning my knife after every cut, or at least 2 to 3 cuts. So the first cut is going to go down right to the board, over to the board, and that's it. That is how you cut your wedding cake. You're going to go in again, remove these circles, which are the dowels that held the weight of the cake. Then you'll go in another 2 inches, and then the center part you'll just cut into circular pieces for like a regular cake. That is how you cut a wedding cake. So that's it from beginning to end. The only thing I haven't shown you is people enjoying this cake, and maybe I will. All right, my friends, until next time, happy baking.
Ah, that was fun. Don't forget to like and subscribe.